Beautiful.
Nice memories.
Great. 60 years ago, yes.
Yeah. I got the inspiration for this. When was it? Sometime at the end of January. And I was thinking of how could you do something that was a little bit different, which kind of captured what we were doing in Hop On, Hop Off, but had a kind of theme to it, which would be about Britain and about classic, iconic British radio programs. And if you have a look at that picture there, can you shout out any places that you recognize that are anywhere near you?
Bloody hell.
I'm in Ljubljana.
You're in Ljubljana, aren't you, Maya? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Brno is there as well.
Yeah. Brno is there as well, where Carla is.
Yeah.
There's no London.
I'm there.
Novi Sad.
There, which is very close to you, isn't it, Sanya? You can see on the left that the Budapest down there, almost
Bucharest.
Bucharest is there as well. Yeah. Any more?
Zagreb.
Zagreb.
Yeah, Zagreb. Yeah.
Zagreb's there. Yeah. This is great, you know, and I've been in lots of people's houses over the last 25 years where I've seen this radio. But different people have got it. It's a Triglav radio. If you have a look there on the right hand side in the middle, Triglav, 3 heads. Maya, you can tell them about Triglav.
Yeah, Triglav is the tallest mountain in Slovenia. And it's featured in the coat of arms of Slovenia as well. And as Mark says, this radio was really popular with anybody and everybody. And we still have one at home as well.
Oh, send me a picture of it, Maya.
I will. I'll ask my uncle to find it for me. It had its prominent spot in the living room in my grandparents' apartment, and they really loved listening to the radio, much more than watching TV, at least at first.
Yeah. Well, you know, I don't have a television, no, at all, and during this pandemic, I've been listening to the radio an enormous amount, and I've been thinking a lot about the role of radio, the comfort that radio, the company that radio gives you. And going back to Hop On, Hop Off, that's how it developed from the start to the end. There were about 35 different posters. When I'm thinking of media awareness, critical media awareness, looking at differences in ELT, you know, we often have 2 photographs and you have to look and find 10 differences between the photographs. And of course, in primary education, you have it a lot. You know, in books that Ronan has, you know, there's 2 pictures, and he has to find all the differences. And just very quietly, just look at those 2 posters for a couple of minutes. The one on the left was the first one. The one on the right was the last one. And just look at all the differences that you can see between those 2 posters. When you're working with students, you know, and you're looking at, say, front pages of newspapers, it's quite interesting to look at differences in pictures, differences in fonts, differences in color, you know, what's in capital letters, what's in small letters, you know, all those differences. And of course, that went through a lot of differences. And one day I'd like to do a workshop somewhere, either online or face to face, on the story of that poster, because the story of that poster kind of illustrates a lot of things about how you develop a text, going from a kind of a basic idea to something that's much more crafted, you know? And there's been a similar thing with what we've been doing with this. We haven't gone live with this poster yet, but I'm hoping that we will do very soon, and have a similar kind of thing where you'll be able to look at the pictures and click on them, and then see the different radio programs that the different people are going to do. Yeah? And these are the people who are involved in this. There's a little space there for Roy Cross, who works at the British Council. Canva wasn't working properly at all today, and I wasn't able to put it in there, but I'm hoping that it'll sort itself out very, very soon. But you'll recognize some of these people. Some of these people are here with us now. Carol Reed, some of you know from her work with primary age children. She wrote a fantastic book called 500 Activities for the Primary Classroom. And Carol and me are going to do Listen with Mother. That was the first thing that you heard, yeah, the Listen with Mother theme. And you can see me and my mother there on the left-hand side with the donkeys up in North Wales. And me and Carol have agreed that we're going to do it together, you know, on looking at storytelling and storytelling around the world. Roy Cross is going to do A.S. Hornby. Roy, 20 years ago, started doing the Hornby courses outside Britain. They used to be done only in Britain, and then they were done in Hungary. We kind of piloted them. I was in Romania in 2003. Summer schools, you know, for teachers, international summer schools. And A.S. Hornby left half of his legacy for teachers in a trust, which is used and made. I don't know. Can you see my face? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, he, you know, for the Advanced Learners Dictionary, and this was a biography of A.S. Hornby. So Roy's going to do one of the radio programs. Frank, are you here? Not quite sure whether Frank's here or not. Yeah, this is what Frank's going to do. He's going to do The Archers, which is probably the longest running soap opera in Britain. And he's also going to do a session on soul music. Yeah? Tim is going to do another pub quiz for us. And it's based on the radio program 1947, the Round Britain Quiz. Jeremy Harmer is going to do Desert Island Discs, which goes back to 1942, and where you have a castaway and they choose 8 of their favorite records, and then they talk about their lives. Yeah? And this is going to be right at the end on Sunday, June the 27th. And on that day, Grenville is going to kick off with a kind of history of soul. Fiona is going to do a music thing, and we were talking about maybe we could have some kind of songs or something from bits of ex-Yugoslavia, where it's something still to think about. But as a final fundraising thing on June the 27th, this is in the plan. So Fiona is going to do the top 20 on that day, and Fiona will also do Woman's Hour on Friday the 14th of May, which started in 1946. Grenville is going to do Sports Report, and this is he's going to do on the eve of the cup final, which should be fun. Ken Wilson is going to do Just a Minute panel game with 4 people, where you have to talk for a minute without hesitation and repetition and deviation. It's a very, very famous program. And Susan, Susan's actually going to do 2 things. Susan, could you mention this and then just say a little bit about the other thing that you're going to do?
When I saw the dates, I realized that this Friday is the day after a lot of elections all the way through Britain. And the ones in Scotland, where I live, are actually quite important because they're for the Scottish Parliament. And one of the parties who may well win want to then have a referendum on separation from England. So it's a very important election for those of us who are living here in Scotland, whether you want things to go one way or the other. So that's on Friday. And a point of view is a very short, sort of 10-minute thing done each week by somebody who is talking about a personal point of view about something in the news. So that's what I'm doing. And then the other thing later, I think it's on the 21st, based on a program called In Our Time, which has been going now for over 900 programs, and some aspect of culture or literature or philosophy or science or religion is discussed. And I'm going to focus on coffee and tea from a philosophical point of view.
Thanks very much, Susan. And on Friday, if you come, you know, as Susan says, it's a 10-minute thing, but afterwards, you know, we can kind of have a little chat about it and a discussion about it. Yeah, so that should be fun on Friday night. Yeah, Rakesh is going to do something on food. You've got this "I eat, therefore I am." As you know, Rakesh cooks wonderfully. Whenever he comes here to Budapest, does some lovely Indian meals and likes going around lots of countries cooking the food. So he's going to do a thing on food. Ali, if you could say just a couple of things about your gardener's question time.
Oh, yeah. Well, you asked me to write some blurb about it. And so I did it before I'd really given it much thought. But here's what I'm saying. That I'm going to do a little bit of filming in my own garden. So, you know, show you around my garden, which is my pride and joy, like a lot of English people. Take you to visit a very famous garden, which is owned by the Royal Horticultural Society, which is very close to me, called Rosemore, where I spend a lot of time. And then the very important part of Gardener's Question Time is that people submit their questions. So if they have problems or queries or want advice on gardening issues, they submit the question, and there is a panel of experts on the radio programme who will give their opinions and their advice. Sending out a request asking you to send in your questions and queries ready for our panel of experts. Thank you.
Great, thanks very much, Ali. See that lovely photograph? Where was the photograph taken?
That's actually at the Lost Gardens of Heligan down in Cornwall, which is it's a fascinating story. The whole place was completely overgrown and overrun, and somebody took it over and has restored it back to how it was kind of in Victorian times. Beautiful place.
Excellent. Yes, if you could say a couple of things about the shipping forecast.
I'm on mute there. Well, the shipping forecast, as you know, all English people are completely obsessed with the weather. And the shipping forecast will give you some of the reasons why weather is so important around the island. And we'll look at the different shipping forecast areas and the different ways that the shipping forecast is presented, or the not different ways in which it's presented and why. And also to do with how we measure and talk about wind strengths and gales and little breezes and things like that. So get a feel for the weather generally around the UK and why it used to be one of the most listened to programs on the radio. It's obviously not so much now, but we'll talk more about that in the session.
Excellent. And one of the ideas of this series is that it might get people interested in listening to these programs, you know, because it's a great source of listening comprehension and an insight into different aspects of British culture. So I think, you know, there's a number of layers that this works on. Sam, could you mention the farming today?
Yeah, sure. I'm also hoping to do some farming from the family farm. Farming Today is a program which examines current issues affecting farmers, and it usually comes from a farm. So I'm going to be interviewing my husband, and I'm hoping to take you on a farm walk, and we're going to examine the sort of challenges, really, because I think it's a time of great change for perhaps all farmers, but British farmers who have the sort of double whammy of Brexit and climate change, or triple whammy, including COVID as well. So we're going to examine how leaving the European Union means changes in terms of how farmers are able to support the environment. And we're also going to talk about staycations. A lot of farms now have campsites and are very busy during the summer months. So that's due to COVID. And I'm also going to be talking to the younger members of the family about the future of farming. But I hope that you'll be able to go with me on a walk around the farm and also experience some of the sounds of the British countryside as well.
Excellent. Thanks very much. Frank, you've just arrived.
Yes.
I just noticed. I'll go back to your slide here. Can you say a few things about your two programs?
Yeah, sorry I'm late, Mark. I got a bit carried away on our evening walk.
No problem.
Yeah, so it fits quite well, I suppose, with Samantha's, although I won't be walking around the farm because we don't have one in Budapest. But I will instead be focusing on soap operas, the world of soap operas, and particularly The Archers, which is the longest running soap opera in the world. And we'll be doing various activities around the idea of soap operas and what makes a good soap opera. And we'll also be looking at a few bits and pieces from The Archers, past and present as well, storylines, characters, things like that. So I hope it'll be fun. Do you want me to talk about the second session as well?
Yeah.
So the second session will be quite different. I'll be much more personal and just sharing the music which moves us and which has played a part in our lives, basically. So I'll introduce the program and explain how the program itself works, so that if you'd like to follow up by listening to some of the episodes, you can. And then we'll do our own kind of program using music of our own, first in groups and then getting back together and sharing some of the things that have featured as musical signposts in our lives.
Thanks very much, Frank. Yeah. And Rakesh, I can see that you have arrived. Could you say a couple of things about your food program? Can you hear us, Rakesh? Well, we can try a bit later. Yeah, let's move on. Catherine is going to do From Our Own Correspondent, which will be getting little reports from our different coordinators from different parts of Europe. It's a program that's on every week, and there are different journalists in different parts of Europe who just give little 5-minute reports. I'm hoping, Irina, that you will do a little report on Ukraine. I don't know whether Catherine's contacted you yet. Yeah, like Carla, you're free to do something on the Czech Republic. Yeah, you'll see anyway. Yeah? And then Kirsty's going to do You and Yours, which is a consumer program, you know, looking at things that you buy, services, what's a good deal, what isn't a good deal. Matt, our guide in Barnstaple, he's going to give a tour of Barnstaple. There's a program called Mark Steele's in Town, which is a half-hour thing. He goes around and learns a lot about different places and then goes to the places and does very, very funny programs on the local community. David is going to do 5 Live Sport, looking at the way in which different sports, the commentaries are from a linguistic perspective, which is very interesting. Do you hear, David? And so basically, that is it. Now, I asked you for some quotes about the media, and I thought what might be quite nice now as a little activity. Now you've seen Ali and Sam and Susan, and there's also a quote there from Alan. Just have a look at those 4 quotes and see if you can attach a person to the quote and say why. Yeah. So just quietly for a minute or so, just look at these things, and when somebody feels as though they might know whose quote that is, could you say who you think it is and why? It's a nice little activity that you can do with students, you know, like in a class where you pick a topic and then you can throw all the comments into a heap, and then they look at them and they try to see who said what. Yeah. Okay, who's going to try?
So it's one of the photos on that slide goes with one of the quotes, yeah?
That's right, yeah. So have you identified somebody there, Lillian?
I don't know, I'm not sure, but I would maybe imagine Sam is the one on the top right, my favourite quote about the media.
Is that right, Sam?
No, that's not my quote.
It's not.
Very good quote. I really like the quote.
Yeah, I thought you'd like it.
I have a guess for the same quote, but I think it's Susan.
I think it's Susan.
Susan? Is that right?
Not me. No.
Oh,
Sorry, Frank.
Oh, well.
it's got to be Ali then.
No,
Is that right?
No, it's not the one I had you as actually, Ali, but
no, not me.
then it must be Alan.
Yes, that's Alan. We've got that sorted out. It's a great quote.
Okay.
Is not the essence of education civil defence against media fallout? Yeah. Okay, what about the other 3 then? Work out the other 3.
May I, Mark?
Yeah.
I think about the second one, scale influential. It's essential that any true education includes critical analysis. I think it's Susan's.
No.
No?
No.
And maybe it's Sam. Is Sam a Jim Morrison fan?
Sadly, it's not mine. But,
Oh.
yeah.
Not very
I'm
good,
going to
is it?
guess at Ali then.
Yes, that's
Yeah. That was my original thought for you, Ali, that one. Scarily influential.
that sounded like me, did it?
Yeah. I agree with you. It is scarily influential, not always in a good way. And
So who are the other 2 then?
Well, I was, if I can, I was guessing Susan has to have an opinion on the royal family as a Scottish person. Am I wrong? Am I wrong?
I think so. Me too.
No.
No? Oh no! Oh, my other Scottish friends have very strong opinions on the royal family. Okay, sorry about that.
We won't ask you what opinions your Scottish friends have got. with
Oh,
your
well,
family,
no,
but-
I'll save that for Facebook. Yeah, They're not complimentary.
Yeah.
Is that you then, Sam?
It is me, yes. Yes, after Mark asked for us to write something, I just watched bits of the rerun of the royal wedding, which I thought I wasn't going to watch, but sort of got sucked into. And I just was overwhelmed with just how crazed, and it was really interesting to watch, and it looked like kind of religious fervor. And then I was thinking about all the sort of symbols, you know, the significance of the brooches and, you know, all the little bits that go with royalty. So that's why I wrote that.
Yeah, and the fact that we had 3 channels constantly broadcasting Prince Philip's death.
Yeah.
3
Yeah.
channels? Yes.
Yeah, so I started thinking about it.
Hmm. That leaves Susan in the middle then.
Well done.
I got that one right.
I think I was feeling cynical when Mark asked for that.
I like it.
Very good.
It's a very nice little communicative activity, this, you know, to do it, yeah, and it always generates lots of conversation. Let's move on. Alan, by the way, is going to do the Goon show, and that will be Friday the 25th. This goes back to 1951, and I've known Alan now for 20 years. Alan was involved in our course book project, Zoom In, which Susan was the publisher of, and Alan came to Hungary together with Susan many times, and we worked together, and it's still nice to be in touch. And one of the things that I really like about the Hop On, Hop Off and this is the way that we've kind of come together and develop a community, and all the things that have been happening with our Soulmates group, you know, like over the last couple of months. It's been exciting, all of these events, and so the radio series together with the big spring program, it's to raise money for Soul, but it's also to develop our online community, do interesting things, and hopefully will help us, you know, raise the profile of Soul, so that when we can have people back to Devon, that we've been in touch with people, we haven't forgotten people, and hopefully encourage people to come when it's safe. Yeah. Okay, next one. Here we've got Frank, David, Ken, and Lilias. We've got 3 people here, which is good. Try again. Just for a couple of minutes, quietly read all the quotes. And then whenever somebody thinks they might know who it is, say who you think it is and why.
Somebody's cooking.
May I say?
Yes, of course.
Hundreds of billions of dollars are spent every year to control the public mind. Is it yours, Frank?
No, it's not mine. But it's true.
I think the first one is Lilius. Not many positive thoughts in the media.
Yeah, Frank's.
Is that Lilius?
Yeah, that's me. Very cynical about the media.
Mm-hmm.
Is the second one, Frank, who rules the media rules the politicians?
Oh, that's not me either.
Well, the fourth one is yours, Frank.
Yes.
Yeah, that could be me. Yeah.
So the middle one must be David then. Who rules the media rules politicians.
Oh, we haven't had Ken yet, have we?
Oh, no, you're right, we haven't.
So we've got politicians and media, Noam Chomsky, and one of them's David and one of them's Ken.
I think Ken.
For which one? The billions of dollars or the?
Billions of dollars.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, Ken.
And who rules the media, rules the politicians? I think David.
Yeah, there's something I made up when I had to say something. Yeah.
Well, at least we got that one
My
right.
style. Ken actually knows something.
We're all really good with this. Thanks ever so much for putting, together a quote. Because it's just so nice to do a session on the media that's not kind of a lecture, or not, or I don't know. It's just nice to work with the people in the group. Do it from a student-centered perspective. And how about Rakesh? Are you here? Okay, here's three quotes here. Catherine, Matt, and Rakesh. Read these three and see if you can work out who is who.
The first one is Catherine's.
Yeah. First one.
Doing that one.
Oh yes, I was in Moscow. Yes. That's a bit of a giveaway, Catherine.
Yeah, she was in Moscow, yes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Catherine was in Moscow, Anka, for a long time. She used to run a school there, and then she worked for a publishing house there. She was there for a long time.
You told us, yes?
I think the second one's probably Matt, actually.
The third one, Rakesh.
Is that right?
It's his way of thinking.
Yeah, I'm with you because I think the second one's Matt.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
But Catherine's was a giveaway with the Moscow.